Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, giving everyone a brief update with a technical analysis on BTC. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you are looking for more in-depth, detailed analysis, go ahead and join us on Twitch for the live streams. You can also watch back this morning's video via Twitch as well, link in the description below. Okay, let's get started with this. Okay, here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. On the hourly chart, Binance is our data source. Okay, and what we're looking for here is to see where we are likely to go next. We're actually in a bit of a position where we can see it going either direction. Okay, so we want to first of all reflect on what we were talking about yesterday, which is basically this local high point here. Now we had this scoped out at 20,187. You can see that just in here with our 1-to-1 ratio. Now we actually came down a little bit short of this at 20,185, and then that is where our C wave is. Now this is either the complete structure here, okay, of a B wave going down in a C wave next, or this is an A wave with a B wave before we go up into this final C wave high at 20,774. There's basically two different paths that this could go. Okay, and that sounds incredibly obvious to a lot of people on who might be watching this, right? It can go up, it can go down. That's essentially what I'm saying. Well, I'm actually saying that this could go in multiple different ways under different structures, and it all depends on what structure is the most probable. Okay, so I'm putting more power towards this 20,774 as the most probable. However, it is possible that we are going to break down, and I'm going to give you a couple of key levels to be watching out for. Okay, so the first thing, if we come down here lower than 18,474, we've broken the structure, okay, and therefore we are not going up to this 20,774 level. Okay, likewise, if we come up higher than 20,385, then we are likely to finish this structure off. Now, as the point of recording this video, a little bit earlier than when you guys are going to see it on YouTube, we can see that we are pulling down. Okay, so we're taking that last little bit of momentum to the downside before we potentially move to the upside. Okay, so if I remove these three waves and this label here that we got right yesterday, we can either look at this as an A, B, C, like this inside this C wave, or alternatively, this is not, in fact, going up any higher. The C wave is done over here, okay, and we are actually, 1, 2, and 3, and we're done here. And this is actually a move to the downside, which would look like this, A, B, and then we come down into C, okay? So those are the two kind of levels that we're looking at. However, this could be much more bearish as we are actually aiming more towards the $15,000 to $16,000 level on this larger C wave, okay? So this is a lot of the stuff that we spoke about on the live stream this morning. In a lot more detail, but it gives you a bit of an idea, as a bit of an update as to what we're kind of looking for here. Now, if I go ahead and throw on some order books, we can see that there's a lot of resistance up here, as this is a lot of sell pressure in here, okay, coming in line with this C wave high. This is why I think this is the most probable outcome, okay? Now, we can't come down here without breaking the structure and then basically go up here afterwards, but we can come up here, grab this, and then come down here and grab this in the same structure, okay, within a valid structure that we have. So looking at it, I think the most probable solution is that we move on up. Now, this is just from an order book point of view. We come up into our daily, we bring this down. You can see there's a big order book down here at the $15,000 to $14,000 level, okay, and the larger books are all the way up here at $50,000, okay, so we know that that's not likely to happen. We've got to come down and take advantage of this liquidity. Now, if I come back down onto our hourly here, you can kind of see this. Now, these don't reprint. They show you all the history here as to where these used to be, and people are chasing the price action, right? So it's always good to kind of keep a good reference as to where those are. Now, if I throw the liquidity on as well, we can see that right around here is a good amount of liquidity. Likewise, coming down here, we can also see that we're just coming down trying to take advantage of this. Now, this essentially is buy orders. Okay, it's in red, but this is basically liquidating people who were going long. Okay, which means that they have to come back and they have to buy this up here. So you can see how we're bouncing from it, but this line is still valid. It means that we haven't taken full advantage of that liquidity yet, so we're going to come back down and retest it. Likewise, coming down into these low ranges. Now, you'll notice that on my dashed lines, there is pockets of liquidity down here, and as I come up to this higher range, you can see that there's liquidity all on here as well. Okay, so I think under the structure that we've got with Elliott Wave theory, it makes the most amount of sense for the price to first come up take advantage of all of this liquidity, including the order book. And then once that is done, we pull on down and we basically take out all of this liquidity and this order book. Okay, but if we were to come down first, we can't take advantage of this up here under the structure that we have with all of these moves. Okay, so understanding how the patterns are playing out from an Elliott wave theory point of view is telling me that we probably have a stronger momentum move to the upside towards 20,774. Actually a little bit higher than that, just short of 21,000, and then come down here and take out this $18,000 order book as well. So do expect some violent, volatile moves during the course of the day. These are the two key levels that I'm looking at, and I do think these are the ones that are going to be playing out in my opinion. Okay, but I wouldn't expect us to come down here first. Okay, if we do come down here, then I do think this is off the tables and we are not coming up here under this structure. It would have to be a different pattern that would take advantage of that. And we can talk about that tomorrow or the next day, however long it takes to actually play out. Okay, but the main takeaway here is that we have a structure that is indicating that we're going to come down, we're going to move up, we've got to complete the structures off, right? And if I take this structure here, this kind of three-wave move upwards that we completed, and we start to think about, okay, trying to come up into this liquidity area, we've got to pull back down a little bit lower. Okay, if we come down to this range here, then we're going to be bouncing up. We could still take this out, be underneath the 1.236, not a problem, and take advantage of that liquidity. So that seems like the most logical pattern in my mind. We come down quickly, take that out, and then we go up in another three-wave move like that and basically take advantage of all of that liquidity and that order book just up here, and then we can break on down afterwards. Okay, so that's kind of where my mind is at with BTC at the moment, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. So if you haven't already checked out the stream on Twitch, I do urge you guys to check that out, because I do think there's a lot of information going on with the whale wallets and kind of data that sits in the background of everything that's going on, everything from the longs and the short positions where the sentiment is sitting right now. It's definitely feeling a lot more on the bearish side. Let me go ahead and just throw this into the last 15 minutes here so we can get an update. Basically right now everyone's kind of going long, so you're seeing the price go down, and likewise when we take a look at this down here on the, let's just throw this into a 15-minute as well, we can see there's a lot more bearishness sitting inside here across some of these platforms. So do expect that price to be very, very violent. The market doesn't really know exactly what direction to take this in, so we've got to be really cautious about this. It's going to be grabbing all of this liquidity in my opinion. It's going to be bouncing around a fair amount, so this is definitely a difficult read and a difficult time to be kind of leverage trading in my opinion. Now of course we closed our monthly closed candle just down here below our previous high point. That comes in over here at 19,666. This means that the next support level is down here at 13,888. However, the key now is to see whether or not this previous area of support that was support for the last 3 months is going to become a resistance line. Okay, so this is another thing that we've got to be keeping a close eye on. Is September was bearish like the way it has been? Are we now going to be able to push up above this 19,666 and then turn it back to support, or are we going to get rejected from here and move down to the next monthly level of support at 13,888? It has a pretty profound effect on the weekly chart, which we know down here would be 14,600, our trigger point for a bearish move to the downside, talking about taking us down lower than $10,000, which of course if we take a look at the monthly, the next level of support is going to be found somewhere down here around the $9,500, and that would be a pretty bearish scenario for BTC on a pretty long period as well. Of course we are looking at Q4 here being a very interesting quarter. We're going to see what's going on, whether or not we're going to see the final bear market low. I don't think it is in yet, despite many people in the space thinking that it has come in. I don't think it has. I think we've got to come down lower. As I said earlier, within our charts here, we've got that big order book on our daily chart just down here. You can see this big one. This is coming in at $15,000 to $15,500. This is the area that I think is the most probable that we're going to bounce from. And if we can avoid this 1.618 at 14,600, that puts Bitcoin at a really strong position. Okay, so bouncing from here would be a real positive. That would be a fantastic, nice low point. I wouldn't be confident in calling it a low until we start seeing a trend to the upside though. So I'm not sure this would be a bear market low, but it would be a very interesting point. It's also worth noting that these books, these order books that are printed on here, can change. They change quite a bit depending on people chasing where to buy, okay? The same thing happens with the sellers. They move their books as, of course, the price isn't reaching their sell orders. Likewise with the buy orders here. So this is the current area for buying. Seems to be a good area on the daily chart between 15 and, of course, 15.5. Now, when we move this up into a weekly time frame, do we see any kind of major order blocks? They're all the way down here, and they're very, very unlikely. But we do have a really good block of selling right up here, right on top of the previous all-time high. So you do know that there's going to be resistance up there. You can see all the liquidity stacked up as well. There's a lot more liquidity to the downside right now than to the upside. So do expect this price to pull back, in my humble opinion. Guys, I'm going to leave this video right there, though. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.